What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets, the show where your host will not be taking his hiking trip he planned for Wednesday because we will be back. We will be talking basketball, and that's because the Los Angeles Clippers not only covered the spread last night, they went into Phoenix and got the win behind Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, and Paul George had just a fantastic performance. Travis, we'll start with you. I was a bit surprised. I wasn't surprised they covered. I was a little hesitant to lay it. I was surprised that they got the outright win. What did you take away from that game last night?
Yes, there was a lot of interesting stats I kind of saw this morning, and I think overall, the Clippers have been playing pretty well in this series. The problem is, they're very undermanned, right? I mean, it is getting very tough for them. I do feel bad for them because, yes, of course, if they had Kawhi, you'd feel like they have a better chance, right? And if they had Zubac, you'd feel like they have a better chance. But Zubac was great defensively for them, but it feels like they kind of played him because they were playing a little scared with Ayton, and they just need to play to their strength, right? They need to live and die by the three. They need to, whenever there's a missed shot or they get a turnover, get out in front, run with the ball in transition, and find the open man with some ball movement and hit that open three, right? I mean, that has been one of the problems I think the Clippers had in this series. I think because they lost Kawhi, they felt really undermanned and they felt like they had to play Zubac more. But I honestly think you just have to live and die with this small ball lineup and play these guys in a ridiculous amount of minutes. Hope maybe Luke Kennard can have a game where he gets a decent pile of minutes, right? He played 18 last night. Maybe he can give you like a 25-minute night in one of these last games. I mean, Terrence Mann only played 24, 26. So one game maybe he can go a little longer to give someone else a break. So that was kind of my overall takeaways. One more thing that I saw like quote-wise before the game, they basically talked about Reggie Jackson and Paul George. They need to make sure they manage them really well in that first half. And then in the second half, they want them just playing the whole time. Like they do not want those guys getting off the court. So that's something to note for the future games, for props, for showdown. And I think overall, like those two guys are going to have a huge, huge usage rate. I mean, you saw it with Reggie Jackson. I mean, it's been amazing in this series. So he's someone that I wanted to play in the captain spot. I think I played Ayton instead, which I felt like an idiot for. But I thought the Suns were going to end up winning. And only 9 paint touches for Ayton, that's just not enough. Like it was just an absolutely terrible approach by the Suns. And overall, it's going to be a fun rest of the series. I mean, we get a game 6, which back against the wall is always great to see from a team. And then we maybe get a game 7. I'll never argue against getting a chance to watch one of those games.
Yeah, I mean, going to be fantastic. And JSU, if we had done like a preseason pod and you told me that Reggie Jackson would be out here looking like Squirtle leading his team in the Western Conference Finals, I could not believe it. What did you take away from last night's game?
Well, one, Ty Lue's an idiot. That's the first thing I take away from
why?
it. I'm going to tell you why. Hold on.
I can't wait.
Everyone gives him all this praise. Oh, he's so good under pressure, all this stuff. The dude had the best way to approach this series and chose to go another way with Zubac. Look at that game last night and tell me that they shouldn't have been playing the small ball lineup this entire time spread. You cannot do it. I don't care what Zubac's stats were. Defensively, he was an atrocity. And if you look at this game, I mean, obviously the Suns had, something to do with this too, but 9 field goal attempts for DeAndre Ayton just played right into the Clippers' hands, not trying to force feed him the ball on the block. But, I mean, that's fine. And the Clippers looked way better with that small ball lineup. I had this game wrong because I thought the Suns were going to win this game. But I did say when Zubac was out, that does actually help this team because it did. Like, I really thought the small ball lineups what got you to this series. And I said this every single game. Why would you be going away from it? Like, I don't understand why even the Zubac being out is the reason why you went here. Like, I don't. One of you guys have to explain it to me because it's clear to me that their small ball lineup, it doesn't matter. Everyone's like, oh, it's because Ayton has post moves and Rudy Gobert didn't have post moves last series, though, so they could do it. Stop it. No.
JSU, can I listen?
Get out of here.
Can I explain
this question?
Let me explain for my reasoning. Spread, you can give yours after. One, do people forget Marcus Morris was playing hurt? Like, there's reasons why they did what they did. I'm not saying what was right I'm not saying it was right that they did that, but
he looked pretty good yesterday.
He looked good yesterday, JSU. Got a couple more days. I mean, like, do we forget that was actually a thing? Like, he clearly couldn't play as much in the earlier games. Was it not obvious? Like, there are things that led up to this, right? To them having to do that. And what happened was,
go find them, put Batum in, and let him play with the small ball lineup. That's just an excuse. The Marcus Morris injury to me is an excuse.
I mean, again, I think that I always said from the start, you need to play this Clippers small ball lineup. It's better to do. And the reason why is not necessarily the defensively. I mean, defensive rating wise, he is good defensively. The problem is it does not set up for what they need to do, right? His defensive rating, Zubac on the court has been great. The problem is it doesn't help for the 3-pointers, which at the end of the day, those threes add up more than twos, right? And
he was great when DeAndre Ayton was owning him with 19 and 22. He was really good. He did a lot to own DeAndre Ayton in that game. Come on, man,
I'm just telling you
he wasn't good.
I'm telling you what the stats say.
I don't care what the stats say. They were down in that series. But I don't care what Zubac did. Look at that last night and tell me why they haven't been doing that this whole series.
It's not just that. JSU, it's not that. It takes it out of Ayton's hands in the post with the slower half-court game and brings it into more of a faster-paced moving game that the Suns don't want to play. The Suns don't want to play up in pace. They played slow all year.
They looked pretty good in the first 2 games without Chris Paul dribbling the ball into the concrete for 18 seconds.
See, I mean, we know at the end of the day.
Poor Chris Paul. The guy
we know at the end of the day they're a better team with Chris Paul.
Killed by spread. I mean, poor Chris Paul.
No, I just was looking forward to do that because I know
the first take. I know it's the first take argument. It's really good. You throw it in there and it gets everyone tilted.
I didn't want to ruin the discourse by just taking unnecessary shots at Chris Paul here, but it was just something I noticed. I'm like, this team looks slower. They're getting into their sets later, and now Ayton has gone from the number 2 option where he was thriving to the number 3, and we're not taking advantage of the biggest mismatch. Why? So I can get mid-range jumpers, which are great at the end of the game when I need that high percentage shot. I don't want those early in the game. I want higher percentage shots. So that was just one thing I took away.
I think if you want to fault Chris Paul for anything, I mean, isn't it a little bit his fault that DeAndre Ayton only took 9 shots?
Yeah, that's my point. It's because on that drop pick and roll, they're both dropping on Ayton. It's giving Paul the wide open shot. Yeah. But I think that's what the Clippers defense has designed, as in, hey, we'd rather have Paul taking these mid-range jumpers than just letting Ayton get loose down low.
Well, and too, like, why aren't you just running screw a pick and roll? Why aren't you just putting him on the block, clearing out a side, passing him the ball down low, and letting him try to go to work? And if they double him, well, he can pass right out of it into an open shot. Why wasn't that the game plan? You don't need to run a pick and roll. Literally, just put his ass down there, like post him up, give him the ball.
To be fair, though,
double him, he throws it out.
This is small sample size, but during the season, DeAndre Ayton 0.97 points per possession on a post up. During this series,
I still think you have to test those waters against the Clippers small ball unit. I mean, they were really small yesterday. Yeah. They went really small. Remember, no Kawhi Leonard. They played Terrence Mann instead of Zubac in the starting lineup. They didn't put Batum in there for a little more size, right, to start. I mean, they were extremely small. Why weren't you testing them out down low? No, you fed right into their hands. Marcus Morris was trying to get charge calls in the beginning of the game. He got one of them where he just barreled right into him and he fell. You're playing into their hands by doing that type of crap. Like, put them down low, post them up, and then let them try and score or get an open shot from there. I don't know why this wasn't a plan going in. You have to test the waters. You got a big man who is somewhat everyone's talking about, like, dominant. I saw people posting about maybe he's an MVP in the finals if they get there.
That's Tyler.
Well, okay, if he's that good, what the hell is he doing not getting the ball? Why is he only taking 9 shots? No idea why. All I'm going to say, though, is the Clippers small ball unit owned that team last night. And I don't know why Ty Lue hasn't been running this small ball lineup the entire series. Because if they did, maybe they're up.
My guess, and this is from going on Steve Kerr, when they used to ask him why he didn't just run it, he just said he didn't want to tire his small fives out. Like Kerr said, Draymond can't take 48 minutes of running at the 5, so I have to put these other guys in. That would be my guess. I don't know for sure.
Okay, so play Zubac 15 minutes like they did with Cousins or whatever.
I still can't believe Cousins actually did well last night. He was in the winning lineup. All right, real quick, though, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow because, like I said, I had to put away the All Trails app during the third quarter as I realized this hiking trip for myself was not going to happen. Real quick, though, if you had to choose right now, and we'll get into it way more tomorrow, JSU, do you think the Clippers get it done in Game 6?
Yeah. I'm still undecided on this.
All right, well,
I
we
don't
have till
know.
tomorrow.
That
Travis,
small
do you
ball
have an
lineup
early
looks
lead?
really good. Is
Do you have an
Zubac
early
out?
lead for
Is he
tomorrow?
out? Is
I'd
that
have
like
to double
confirmed?
check. I'm assuming he is.
I'm not sure, but I will say this: like, I know you were making fun of Tyloo earlier. He has like rocked that small ball lineups in the Game 6s and 7s. I assume he's gonna stick with those, and it seems like he's earlier in the series and has experimented more. But when we get to the Game 6s and 7s, he definitely is stuck more with the small ball stuff. So I think he's gonna stick with it.
All right. Let's jump in at tonight's game. And for people watching at home, that is not, I was excited. I thought it was a Hulkamania t-shirt on Travis Mangone with rocking the red and yellow. I thought he was being a real American, but no, it is not Hulkamania. It is, I don't even know what country he's from, or I would say that he's that version of their Hulk Hogan. But Travis, you're rocking
Isn't
the
he
Danilo
from
Gallinari
Italy?
shirt. Is that where he's from? I don't know.
Yep, he's from Italy. I didn't shave the mohawk, right? I could have done the
Okay.
mohawk shave, but I did not. So I told JSU I had a surprise. So I got my t-shirt for Gallinari after all the money they've won me. They've been a fun ride. And I figured, why not? After the Sixers game, I was just looking for some t-shirts, and this shirt looked really stupid and dumb. And I said, this is perfect to wear for the show. So I'm going to be rocking it tonight while the game's going on. And I hope the Hawks can get it done. It's definitely not looking as good as I was hoping after Game 1, right? But Trae Young, do we actually know his injury, like, full-on status? Like, do you guys have any lean on, like, how he's going to be in this game? Because, listen, if Trae is not the same, I mean, it's over, right? The series is done. That's really what I need to figure out, even before I handicap this game. And I haven't really been able to figure out how healthy he's going to be. Do you guys have any leans on that?
I mean, bone bruise in the foot. He definitely looked slower when he came back. And then just from judging off of what he put out yesterday, my guess is he woke up and it was way worse. You know how, like, you kind of roll it and you can finish the game, and then you go home, you go to sleep, and you wake up and you can't even walk to the bathroom. I'm worried he had something like that. Unfortunately, I am just speculating, and it's tough as a handicapper here.
I think it's hard to bet. I honestly think it's hard to bet this game without knowing that, right? Like, I honestly think there's so much value in at least watching the first 3 minutes, or like watching pregame too, right? Of course, you might lose a line or something that you want, but for me personally, I would prefer to do that than rather jump on something right now. I don't know if you guys as bettors look at that, but that's something I definitely look to do at times.
No, I completely agree. And I was actually talking to my girlfriend about this morning, and I think I'd mentioned it on the show. You know, during the regular season, when you guys come on the show, we're going over 10 games. I give out a play on 1 or 2 games. That's 10 to 20% of games I can find an edge on. Now that we're down to 1 game a day, it's hard for me to say the books are putting up a line that's wrong every single day, and I can find a definitive edge that's going to allow me to overcome the VIG. And I think tonight's a great example. My early thoughts, though, are the same as yesterday. Yesterday we came on, I had Hoop on. He did fantastic on the show. The only thing I think he did better was that lawn. I mean, did you guys see the picture of his lawn? I mean, it's just immaculate. But we both like Phoenix, right? And then I love the NBA. I love these betting shows. I watch all of them. Every single person was on Phoenix, right? On every show that I watched. I started to think, this is not a good sign. I'm feeling that same way kind of about Milwaukee tonight, right? Everyone says Trae's hurt. It's over, right? This line keeps moving. It's gone from 5 to 7. I almost think that this is getting out of control, and I haven't made a bet yet, but Hawks plus 7 is looking pretty enticing. JSU, what do you think? Do you think that the public's going to be right tonight, or do you think the Hawks can win one for the sportsbooks again?
Yeah, well, first off, Richie Smalls in the chat says, I want a girlfriend I can talk bets with. #winning. Yeah, me too, Rich.
I told her I didn't think I'd find
lovely.
an edge today, so she needed to give me some baseball winners.
There you go. So I think with this game, I think you just, Mangone's talking about watching the first few minutes. I think you just got to take your stand is either like, is Trae actually hurt, or is he going to be fine for this game? Is he just going to, like adrenaline going after the first couple minutes and he doesn't even feel it, like, and he's just fine. Obviously, it bothered him when he came back a little bit, but I think you just got to make the call and go with it. I'm going to side on his foot's probably not going to feel great. So he's probably not going to be 100%. The one thing, though, I think is funny about this game, if you watched the last game, and we didn't get to talk about last game, but think about last game. Think about what happened towards the end of the game. So I thought Shaq on Inside the NBA said it right, where Atlanta played 42 minutes of really, really good basketball. If they played like 46 or 47, they win that game easily. But they didn't. But the one thing I think he's missing in that statement is not only did that happen, but also something ridiculous happened. Chris Middleton exploded for like 20 points in the fourth quarter. Is anyone talking about this right now? The fact that the dude went apeshit in the fourth quarter and was unconscious, and they ended up winning that game. But think about it. If he's not unconscious, I don't think even with Trae being hurt, they win that game. And Giannis think about how many things went right for Milwaukee. Not only did Trae get hurt by the ref, on top of that, Chris Middleton goes nuts. Giannis had a huge game. Their two stars had monster games, and they came back and won. They were down, I think it was like 7, with 7 minutes left. So it's not like, oh, Milwaukee was rolling. No, they were not rolling. Even when Trae went out, they still weren't rolling for a while, right? They were down with 7 minutes to go. People forget about this. And then Chris Middleton went nuts, and they went on like a 25-7 run. But if you look at the rest of that game, they were getting owned by Atlanta. And John Collins barely played, it felt like, because he was in foul trouble. So not only were they getting owned, one of the better players for the Hawks was out. All of this leads me to believe that even if Trae's a little hampered, this game should side Atlanta at 7. I think that this game, all those things can't go right again. Like Chris Middleton dropping like 38 and Giannis having a monster game. John Collins being in foul trouble. I don't see all those things happening. On top of it, I thought Bogdanovich, even though his shot was off, I thought he looked a little better. He was at least shooting the ball. Kevin Huerter, you can tell clearly in this series, was a little more comfortable playing at home. I think you see that again. So
it's Kayvon Huerter to you, okay? When he plays.
Wow.
No, I told you that if they win this series, I will call him Kayvon for the rest of his life. I told you that. Not until he wins the series, though.
Come on, Kevin.
So this is where I'm struggling with this, because I do think in the end the Bucks win this series. I do think Trae is kind of obviously nicked up a little bit, but man, so many things have to go in the Bucks' favor. It feels like, for them to run away with it. And I think at 7, the value is on the Hawks, right, Spread? Am I wrong here?
I agree. Let's take the home court advantage in. You're telling me that the Milwaukee Bucks are 10 points better than the Atlanta Hawks? No,
I can't see it.
No, I mean,
really can't.
You're telling that to me says Trae Young's not playing. If you think that this Milwaukee team is 10 points better on a neutral than Atlanta,
throw out game 2, because they honestly just destroyed them. But if you take the other 2 games into account that they've played, you cannot tell. I mean, Milwaukee has gotten outplayed in those 2 games, in my opinion, for majority of the game. So. I mean, it's tough for me to lean Milwaukee at this number. I can't do it.
I think this number should be like -3 personally.
Yeah.
So, Travis, what do you think here? Are you with us that maybe Atlanta's getting a little bit disrespected? And although it's tough, right, because if Trae's hobbling around out there, I mean, this offense is really, really stagnant without him. They have a bunch of shooters, but they can't create the open looks. I don't know. I still think this point is too much. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like we saw the Clippers, right? We thought with Kawhi they were absolutely done, and you never know. Your team can sometimes rise too. So you always have that backdoor. Your ticket's not dead if Trae Young is like have a bad ankle, right? Like crazy stuff can happen. So that is at least something you have going for yourself. But I'm kind of with you guys. The more I even keep thinking about it, like I just can't with this Bucks team, man, because it's a home game, right, for Atlanta. And the thing I've just been beating on over and over, the drum I just keep beating is if the Bucks are in some kind of game that's close, how are they going to get buckets in the end of the game? And if the game's going to have to be a blowout for the Bucks to win. Like the only way I'd want to bet the Bucks is if I did like an alternative line, like where I just
Mangone, it's easy. Chris Middleton will just drop 20 again in the fourth quarter for them to win.
I mean,
don't worry. I mean, that's what'll happen. It's fine. So we can count as a Bucks backer. We can always count on Chris Middleton to drop 20. That's what I don't think people understand is how wild that actually was that he did it. He was shooting horribly, by the way. Like, he had been shooting so bad. Even in that first quarter, I played him in the captain for DFS, so he was on a ton of my teams. And I was like, thank God he's, like, getting rebounds. And he made some crazy assists, by the way, like some crazy passes. One to Brook Lopez. I was like, holy shit. But the dude couldn't make anything in the beginning of the game outside of, like, a layup or two. And then all of a sudden, the fourth, he just went nuts. I don't think people realize you can't count on Chris Middleton, fourth quarter star. And if that's the case, well, I can't really count on Giannis either to hit a few shots to win me a game in the end.
You know, Jason, you know who I can count on to hit some shots late in the game? Bogdanovich, who played 35 minutes. And sure, he didn't shoot great the last game. He shot 3 for 16, but he's gotten a little healthier, man. I don't know how healthy. I don't know how hurt he's still.
I don't know if we can count on. Like, he's going to shoot him, Mangone. I don't know if we can count on him going in. Well, I hope they go in, but
no, I'll say this, JSU. I wouldn't be shocked, right, if Bogdanovich started showing up now, right? Like, I mean, people would be like, oh, well, where was he? Well, of course, he was hurt, just like Morris. Yeah, Morris was hurt. You know, might be a little bit healthier now. We don't know. So I do think it's nice to at least have Bogdanovich there as a nice security blanket if you're a Hawks backer too. It's not like he's out for the series, then you have to just count on Kayvon Huerter showing up. But overall, I mean, I like the Hawks team. I think it is a nice little number to be putting out there. So I think we jump on it. If you are someone that really likes the Bucks, though, I would really alt line them because I'm just thinking that it's a blowout and Trae Young is hurt and you just like have a game where it just gets really, really ugly. And we saw Nate McMillan willing to pull his players in that other game. He pulled them very quick. Now, of course, a home game in Atlanta, he might not be as willing to do that, but would he be willing to pull a Trae Young with a bad ankle? He might be. So I think that's something to watch.
Great question, especially for you DFX guys. Cam Reddish off the injury report. Is he a factor? I was on the Hawks subreddit. The fans were really upset that he didn't get more run, especially with how that game was turning out yesterday.
Yeah, but the coach even said that he wasn't going to get run. Like, he said that the rotation's not going to change even though he's in there.
So basically, when we're answering this question, is he a factor? The answer is no.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, do they make adjustments? Maybe. I think you got to kind of wait. Maybe the question's asked pregame to the coach again, because I know it was asked pregame, and one of the beat reporters, I think, posted it about how the rotation's not going to change for this game. Pretty much just saying, like, Cam, outside of a blowout, is not going to get in this game probably. But
spread who gets the minutes, right? So if you say, okay, I think like he's going to get more run, who's losing minutes? Is it Solomon Hill? I mean,
Solomon Hill minutes can go for sure. I mean, he was minus 14, 0-0, and I think like 2 fouls or something.
Imagine playing Solomon Hill.
He played 15 minutes, so I guess you go from him. I mean, you could cut some from Lou. Lou played 18.
And I would say that Bogdanovich is a factor if he's not 100% either. If my Cam Reddish is 100% healthy, and Bogdanovich is out there, and I know you say he could turn it around, right? But he's 5 of 30 from 3 in this series so far.
I mean, but Fred, I think he looked a little healthier last game.
Yeah, I hated to, and I'm just kind of answering this. If we did try and get Cam Reddish more minutes, those are the 2 places I'd say.
The one thing I'll say in DFS, Bogdanovich at that price tag in the captain spot. I mean, it's interesting.
Talk about getting different.
There's a lot of factors. It's not like me just trying. I'm going to be different. Well, it's like, well, Trae Young is banged up, right?
Right.
You could see some more ball go over to him. listen, I know, we like to talk about watching the games, but math is a thing, right? They're eventually going to fall in, right? They're not all just going to miss. At least you hope.
Math is a thing.
I mean, it's got to, right? I mean, soon they're going to fall.
I'm going to put that on my Twitter. Math is a thing.
Well, I played Jay Crowder.
I didn't put that on an inspirational beach or something.
I played Jay Crowder against the Lakers, and he was 1 for 18 from 3 in the first 3 games. And I was like, I played him every game, and my teams were fine, right? And all the rebounds were there. And he, at his price, he was like serviceable. And I was like, one of these games, they're all going to fall, and I'm not going to miss it. And then game 4, they all fell, and he was like my difference maker. He was like 5% owned. So, they could start falling here. And this is a spot where you could really see Trey maybe lean on him more. So and he's cheap, right? The other thing with Bogdanovich, too, that's factor is his price has gone down. So I want to see if I do play a Bogdanovich in the captain, what would it get me over playing somebody else, right? What is the upgrade? That matters, too, when constructing the lineup and trying to be different.
I will say also, too, just to kind of piggyback off of Bogdanovich, the one thing that actually makes me feel better about him, and I'm going to say the one thing that makes me feel like even the coaching staff thinks he's getting healthier, look at the minutes. They let him play 35 minutes last game. The game before was a blowout, so we throw that game out because he only played 18 minutes. I think that actually helped him, too, because they didn't have to extend his minutes. That might have aided his rest a little bit. But before that, I think it was like 24, 27 minutes. The game before that, game 1. And then the game before that against Philadelphia, he only played 28 minutes. So, the minutes are telling me, in my opinion, and the fact that I watched him, and I really did think, even though he wasn't making the shots, he was at least starting to be aggressive and starting to try on offense and take them more. All that leads me to believe that he is starting to get healthier. One of these games, those shots are going to fall. And we're at home. Trey's a little nicked up. Mangone, I don't think it's as crazy to say Bogdanovich in the captain spot for DFS. I haven't built any lineups yet, so I have no idea about pricing or anything like that. But I will say, I think a Bogdanovich big game is coming. The question for DFS, I think, is more, can he do more than just score? Because that's always been my issue with Bogdanovich is he is a straight scorer, and he could drop 30. But is it like one of those stat lines that's like 30, 2
and
1, a steal? Can he give me 5 or 6 rebounds? Can he give me 5 assists or something like that? Because I feel like and that's the problem with DFS when he's more expensive. But if he's cheaper, now we can talk about it because I'm not as worried about all the other peripheral stats that he doesn't do as much.
And JSU, he was against Philly, right? I just pulled up the Glock. So I was like, while you're saying, I'm like, well, let's see. Let's find out. Against Philly, he had 21 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Then he had a 14-2, 7, 19-1, 4. Then he's the 22-0, 5. You want a little bit more, right? But it's not as bad. And if there is more ball handling responsibility for him, and let's say the Hawks are winning, it's because shots are falling in off of assists. And if he has more ball handling, it's because he's getting those assists. It can all add up, I think, in that department. And on a team, too, like the Bucks that are willing to shoot that 3 ball, too, those longer rebounds, that they can easily get there. So I like it. I think it's a good contrarian way to go. And you can eat some really good Bucks chalk with it, and people are not going to be willing to do it. So I'm definitely going to have at least one team where I take a shot with it.
Travis, let me put you on the spot here. So I actually built a lineup before we went on, and, I did not have Bogdanovich in here. But with my remaining salary, I could take out Gallinari, who you have a T-shirt of, and get Bogdanovich in there. Would you say that I should go for Bogey over Gallinari, or do I just redo the whole build and get him both?
I'm gonna answer this question. Yes.
Yeah.
So I agree about that. I agree, but let me hear your whole lineup, because sometimes we don't talk about it enough. The full lineup is it's good to.
Am I allowed to read off my whole lineup here?
Actually, no. So, is there any guy that can negatively correlate with Bogdanovich? Would you who do you have in the captain spot? Let's start there.
Giannis.
All right. I mean, that makes us all. Yeah, that makes sense. What other Hawks do you have? You say you have Gallinari. Do you have any more?
Lou.
And then you switch them out. Lou. Okay. I mean, I guess Lou and Bogdanovich could both get there. Yeah, I think it's fine then. The one thing I would look at, and this is a good example, and I was just building a team, and then I pulled up the minutes, and I think there are routes where this could work, but like I noticed the other day, Collins came out early, and who came in? Gallinari, right? They do have some negative correlation there. Now, there are some chances that they could play together, and they also don't completely overlap where both can get there. But those are things you want to look at. Like, you more than likely don't want to probably play Trae Young and Bogdanovich together. If you are playing Trae and Bogdanovich together, that means the Bucks probably got blown out. And you want to really play like maybe like a 5-1 of Hawks and Bucks, or a 4-2. Again, another problem with it, though, is the Bucks play really condensed minutes. So those guys really get there because they're only playing like 7 to 8 guys, and they're really good fantasy scorers. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I just would want to make sure that Bogdanovich is, not with a negative correlation player.
Yeah, and JSU, I'm probably like a DFS square here, throwing Giannis here in the captain spot. I think everyone knows the upside there. Let's say I build a different one. Who would you recommend to get different here if we want to go for a captain that's not Giannis tonight?
I mean, so again, I haven't looked at the pricing or anything like that, but if you're trying to get different, I mean, this is what happens in Showdown. It makes me laugh all the time, but it's like, everyone just takes what happened the game before. And
right.
I feel like, when will people start realizing that very rarely does what happened the game before happen the next game? You know what I mean? And yeah, there are some cases where the same thing happens twice, but I think it's very rare, especially when you're talking about not the star, not PG, not Giannis, we're talking about the secondary guy or the third guy in a Middleton. Everyone's going to run and play Middleton this game. And trust me, I was on Middleton. That was my core. I had Middleton in the captain spot. I was on that build. I don't think I'm going to go back there. I know for a fact this is how it works. And, for that reason alone, I think that Drew makes for a little better of a play if you're just looking for Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. I'm not against, though, playing one of these Atlanta guys. John Collins interests me a lot today. I don't think Gallinari's fine. They do negatively correlate a little, but they did play at the end together, right, Mangone? Yes. So there's still a little upside there if they want to play that.
They're off the court enough too where it could happen. It just depends on the lineup, JSU. But
but I think if you're looking at the beginning of the game through like the first 3 quarters, yeah, they kind of negatively correlate because they're coming in and out for each other then. But the fourth quarter, they could potentially play together. So that makes me believe like I could play them in the same lineup and be okay if the Bucks go that route in the fourth quarter. And honestly, if Trae really is hurt, I wouldn't be shocked if Gallo saw even more minutes and it actually affected Capella more because they might feel like they need more of an offensive player out on the floor to kind of help Trae out if he's not as mobile. You know what I mean?
And Trae and Capella worked well together because of the pick and roll and the lobs. Like,
right.
You're 1,000% right on that.
So this lends me to believe that I could see myself playing a Hawk guy in the captain spot. I don't know if that's for sure and who it is yet because, again, I haven't built. Bogdanovich does interest me. Probably won't play Gallo in the captain because I don't think he has that type of upside. Kevin Huerter interests me a little bit, but I have a feeling his price tag is a little too much. I don't know. Mangone, is his price a lot?
Who? Which guy? Gallo?
Your boy Kevon.
7,000.
So he's more expensive than Huerter. Huerter is
7,000.
Yeah, he's 7K, and then Bogdanovich is 6'4", and then Gallinari's 5'8", Reddish is next 4'8", just to give you a perspective on like the range. Okay. And Lopez is 7'4" now, above Huerter, just to give you like full on perspective of the slate.
Okay, so wait, so Kevin Huerter is still the most expensive of those secondary guys, right?
Gallinari, yeah. Bogdanovich, yes.
And Reddish.
Yeah, okay.
Reddish.
So I think it's between, honestly, like if you want a contrarian captain, it's going to be one of those, Bogdanovich, probably, or Collins. I'd throw Collins in there because I think people are just going to look at what he did last game and look at the minutes and maybe be a little timid or afraid. I mean, the dude has upside. We've already seen it. And he was in foul trouble for so much of that game that I think it's good for – I'm just going to go right back to him. I'm going to jam him in my lineups because another thing is if Trey is actually hurt, he could get more looks too around the rim and at the hoop where Trey would try and finish himself, where he might dish it off and get Collins more involved as well. So
JC,
I think that's the way to go if you want to try and solo ship a tournament.
Yeah, JC, can I ask one more question showdown-wise? Bobby Portis, that's the guy I didn't fade him last game. I came close, but I faded him early on. It's like,
I hope you did, and he was in my core.
I mean, I didn't know he was in your core, but I did play him.
Hurtful, Mangone.
I played him.
Core.
I played him last game. I didn't want to. I was very close not to, but maybe that was what got me over the hump. I remember looking at the Discord. I can't remember why, but Portis, I don't know exactly how to handle him because he has been so high owned, man, and he's gonna bust at some point, possibly, right? Like, I mean, I can't guarantee it, but
you say he was high owned. I think last game he was like 33%.
No,
I was like stunned.
Wasn't he 45? Yeah, 45. I mean, that's a good amount for a value, JSU, no?
In showdown, I mean,
it's Bobby Portis. If he gets no minutes, like, which could happen, you wouldn't be shocked, right?
Yeah, but Bobby Portis is like he's like that guy offensively that you blink and he's got 12 and 2.
I know.
And you're like,
it's like Cousins.
You're like, what the hell just happened? And Bobby Portis is just owning people down low and stuff. That's the type of upside. So when he's cheap, it's kind of hard to be like, well, if the dude gets 15 minutes, he could have like 25.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm just trying to figure out if like the minutes are real and
tell me he's not that cheap again, Mangone.
Yeah, I mean it's going up, right? I mean he's 4.4, right? It's not like 2.2 or 3K, but it's still doable, right? I mean if you look at the guys around him, Reddish is 4.8.
I wish they put him at like 5K to make it like a little more of a decision.
Yes, and that's part of the problem.
So are you going to put him in again tonight? Does he need to be in my lineup?
I don't know yet. The problem is I haven't done builds yet. He fit like all my Middleton captain builds so perfectly last game. I got to see who I end up going with in the captain because if I go with someone cheaper, I might not need a Bobby Portis. The problem is like when you play this series, if you play it like it's a close game, even if you like the Hawks to win, you probably want Giannis on your team, right? Like regardless. You're going to probably want one of Drew or Middleton with Giannis.
And that's what I was about to ask you. So I built one. I had Middleton in it. I'm rebuilding another one right now, kind of based off my first one. I don't think I want Middleton anymore. Do you think that I could get away with fading him? He's 10K. He's coming off a huge game. His performances have seemed to zigzag, or do you think that that's just being too contrarian?
I would fade him for Drew. I think the Drew Giannis route I like way more.
Yeah. I mean, I think you want two of those three guys in your lineup spread.
Okay.
Whoever it is, and I'm probably going to be a little under on Middleton. Like, I don't know if I'm going to fade him. I'm not going to play him in the captain. I know that. Like, everyone's going to play him in the captain. I'm definitely not going to do that. But I don't know who I'm going to take because, again, I'm just going to say you want two of those three in your build. So then it comes down to where I'm at with my captain spot, how cheap I can go, and if I play Trey.
Here's my next question. So I've got a little build here. Let's say I throw a Kongwu in there at 1,000 because I'm really tempted to do that. If I'm gonna like take home like a nice prize, how many points do I need to get out of him at that 1,000 spot? 10.
Well, it's not only what you need from him; it's also what are those like mid-tier values going to do, right? That matters as well.
Yeah. So spread. If you told me Giannis dropped like a 75 piece or 80, and he was the captain, no doubt.
Yeah.
Or Trey, then the 1K guy might be the winning team, regardless of if he gets you 3, 5, 10. Right, Mangone? Like, or if you tell me Bogdanovich ships and he drops a 50 burger and he's the captain, well. Maybe then the 1K guy isn't the winner. Maybe that team isn't the winner. I think it's all depending on who's the winner and the captain. Does the Bobby Portis captain Does somehow Bobby Portis drop a monster game? And does the real cheap captain win out? You know what I mean?
A good way to explain it to you, Spread, is the last year, and I use this example a lot. Last year, Big T was getting made fun of for playing PJ Dozier on his utilities on his teams when it was the Nuggets and Lakers series. But the reason why he was doing that was he had to jam in Jokic, LeBron, or Davis at the captain last year because all three of those guys had an insane amount of usage, right? And the minutes were so condensed that a lot of you needed to have a $300 or whatever it is, $1,000 value play in order to get all those guys in your lineup, and they could make up that difference. So if you are going to play in a Kongwu spread, I like to look at what the 2v2 difference is, right? A Kongwu and Middleton versus maybe Kayvon Herter and Bobby Portis, right? I don't know if that adds up, but it's basically.
Yeah, that's pretty close. It's 11K to 11.6.
Yeah, so two middle tier guys versus, because the one guy can easily carry you and get you over the top with that. Now, it also depends on the other values. And like I said, the reason why I'm man, do I just keep playing Bobby Portis is I look at the values around Bobby Portis. It's a hurt Cam Reddish that's clearly is not playing a ton of minutes. It's PJ Tucker. It's Bryn Forbes. It's Pat Connaughton. And it's just really hard to stomach those guys in your lineup. So that's kind of part of the problem.
Yeah, I think that I've been way too high on Pat Connaughton. Every time I've been looking on the week, because you go and you see the first place lineup versus your lineup. Pat Connaughton is usually where I'm losing all my points, and the other person jammed.
Yeah, if you want 13, play Pat Connaughton. If you want a nice 13.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think this is a fantastic discussion, and we were kind of talking out beforehand, Travis. But I told you, hey, we got to get some of this talk on the show live so we can help out all the viewers. And what a great way to go through here. I think that if you're listening to the show, you've got a bunch of different ways. And hey, go for those two guys, not my build, right? I'm just asking the questions, trying to start the conversation. But different ways to get these builds in, and maybe ship it. Does anyone ship solo in these showdowns, right? You're going to be sharing with someone, but ideally you're not sharing with too many people. I've noticed in the little $4 contests that I like, it's 20 people win every night.
I try not to share with I don't know, 100 or 50 people, but I'll share with 10. That's fine. If you do want unique lineups too, at the end of the day, you don't want to also be playing just out there teams too, where it's all my teams are unique, but I'm losing money, right? You need to be smart about it.
Yeah, and sometimes to be unique, you have to leave money on the table. Would you agree with that statement? If I have $1,000 remaining, I probably have a better chance of being unique.
Yeah, I'd agree. And it depends on the construction of it too. And always look to see what that upgrade could be and what the difference in projection is between those two guys, or what the difference in the minutes could be. And also, if there's one guy that's 5,000, there's one guy that's 4,000, and the 5,000 guy is someone that plays shooting guard, and so is the 4,000 guy, and he's his backup. Well, the $4,000 guy could leverage the 5K guy very easily, and destroy that team. So it's definitely worth looking at those things.
All right, and everybody, thank you for hanging with us today. I know this is the betting show on the Run Pure Bets channel, but we did go a little more DFS heavy because at the beginning of the show I mentioned I think it is really hard to place a bet at this time of the day and really feel like you have an edge without knowing Trae Young's status 100% here. So it's kind of why we went more into the DFS way. I think that if you are a smart gambler, that's probably where you have a better chance of finding some profit today. Now, of course, if you feel like you have a good insight on how healthy or not healthy is, I think that you do have an advantage. I didn't really feel like I had that. Maybe as the day goes on, maybe we get some grainy shoot-around videos from the cell phone cam, right, or something, to make us really feel strongly one way or the other. I would say it'd more likely be negative. I think it'd be hard to really see something and say, hey, I think that because of that warm-up, he's going to be 100% and drop 38 points tonight. But that's the way it goes. And, we did a lot of DFS today, but we're not going to shy away from the best bets. And we will start with you, JSU. What is your best bet today, side, total, or prop?
Well, I'm going to give a side, obviously. I'm taking Atlanta +7, and I'm going to give a prop too. So Bogdanovich points prop right now is 12.5. He hasn't gone over this prop, I think, all series so far.
That seems so good, dude. I want to be in on that.
But he took 16 field goal attempts and went 3 for 16 last game. The games before that, 6, 6, and 8 were his field goal attempts. So he took over double the field goal attempts from the last 3 games. I say he might take more than 16 in this game with Trey hurt. So give me that opportunity at 12.5 points. That seems like a low prop to me. I'm going to take the over in the points prop for Bogdanovich at 12.5 as another bet.
All right.
Since this is a betting show and we want to give a few bets out.
Yeah, we do. No, but this is a lot of fun. I have so much fun with the DFS today because, like I said, without knowing Trae Young's ankle, I think it's really hard to plant a flag and feel strong about your side. I agree with you. I lean towards the Atlanta side if you want to get involved pregame. Like I said.
Do you think we could get that at like 7.5 or 8 spread?
Yeah, if some sort of report comes out during the day that he's not doing his best or that he's hobbling or any sort of video, the money just
like you. My point was, do you think it's a good idea to wait until closer to game time?
No, I don't think that they're going to move that much farther.
Okay.
Barring bad news. And in case,
like Spread said, if you see his ankle, right, in like pregame and he doesn't look as great, then it like starts going one way or it goes the other. So you'd have to be really sitting around.
Well, it's his foot, right? Like it's a
bruised bone, yeah.
It's a bruised bone in his foot, like the top of his foot, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not gonna feel. I mean, like it's not gonna feel great. It's like
he's just gonna fight through pain. It's just
he's gonna fight through it. Like, and then the adrenaline will be going so much that like at certain points he won't feel it, and then he'll fall and like he'll feel it, or someone. On his foot,
we might see from him? We might see him try and just shoot more threes and get lazy and just like not drive to the hoop.
What I'm wondering if like on those push-offs, when he's pushing off of 1 foot, when he's doing those floaters and stuff, if he's feeling the pain when he pushes off every single time. Because probably if it's like a bone bruise or a foot sprain, like it's at the top of the foot, well then right when you push off one leg, you're going to probably feel that. So,
and he's got to catch himself too, right? Like Mitchell was saying.
And he's got to land. Yeah, exactly. So
didn't Mitchell say that was the hardest part?
Yes, and we saw Mitchell's threes just skyrocket. I mean, it was crazy. He was shooting like, I can't remember the number, but just go pull up the game log and you'll see Donnie Mitchell's threes were through the roof.
I mean, the thing with Trey is Donnie Mitchell's a little bigger than Trey, right? Like Trey, the way he gets open, it's kind of like his deceptiveness, right? His quick twitch, like it's so fast. His shoulders move one way, and then like all of a sudden he's going the other way. And if he doesn't have that, it might be tough for him to get those threes off. He might be He might be shooting them from the logo to get them off.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I've learned this playoffs is that I'm not a very good doctor. I didn't think Embiid was going to play very well on that meniscus. He absolutely crushed. I thought Chris Paul was done for watching those first couple games against the Lakers with that shoulder where he could barely get his arm above his head. He looks absolutely fine now. So it's just so tough to try to guess, the status of these absolutely elite athletes. Travis, what is your best bet for today's side total prop?
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to ride with my boys, right? We'll ride with the Hawks. We're getting the job done, making it 2-2, bringing it back to Milwaukee, and hopefully they can steal one, right?
Did Trav say best bet was the Hawks money line?
No, I mean, it's the +7. We're going to take the +7.
Oh, no.
We can sprinkle it. We'll sprinkle it, right, JSU? How's that sound? I can't make that.
All right.
I'll tell you, if I knew Trae Young was healthy, it would be JSU.
Yeah.
So unknown.
Let's be honest. If we knew Trae Young was healthy, though, this line is like 4, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I mean, it should be 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable to me. I'm going to go.
To clarify, I like the Hawks to 7.5 way better. It's if you want sprinkle the money line, I might sprinkle the money line a little bit. You can also do what I said too. You can watch it and see how it goes, but don't be mad if the line is then gone. That's a perfect way to approach it as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump in on the under here. We've had 2 of the first 3 games go under. The first one barely went over, 229 on a 226. This total's down to 218, but it is for a reason. The pace has slowed, and this if Trae Young's not 100%, I mean, this offense has been absolutely terrible without him to push the pace and get those other guys open looks. I mean, they got a team of shooters, but the thing is, shooters need a creator, and without that creator, they're going to be lost. So, I get the little bit of individuality there. Not to mention, if he is 100%, the game more likely stays closer. Another way for me to go under here. So I like the under 218. I also agree with both these gentlemen that we're going to go for the Hawks and take the points here. Maybe a little bit, right, of last night where we watched this show and every other show on the internet and on television, pick the Suns to close it out. And then, of course, expect the unexpected in the NBA, right? And that's what we got last night. Maybe expect a little bit more of this as the people are already writing their Bucks Suns previews here online like this is a foregone conclusion. So I do not think it's that. Gentlemen, I thought we were going to have tomorrow off, but you guys will be back with me tomorrow. I hope that you guys can both make it. We'll talk about it afterwards, but we will try and figure out how we are going to approach this Game 6. It looks like it's going to be a pick 'em. I think I will be a little more excited to break down the game and give out some bets, but of course, we will also be working on the proper DFS builds as well. So everybody, thank you for hanging out. JSU will be live, right? You got an MLB countdown. That's behind the paywall.
Yep, live 6 p.m. Eastern time. Premium side, my man Travis will be live before that around, I think it's 4 Eastern time today for the free YouTube show with DC and Hoop. So check it out.
They're also talking NBA Showdown as well. They'll talk it, right? JSU, you guys will be on doing that at the end.
Oh yeah, yep. Well, after MLB lock, we'll transition to NBA winners, talk some Showdown, and hopefully get on the right track today.
I'll try and get on for the NBA portion, JSU.
Do you have a promo code if people aren't members and they want to hang out with JSU and Big T tonight and grab some of those winners?
RPS Heater 25 is still a promo code. Get you 25% off your first payment. So check it out.
Yeah. And if you want to hang out, then you'll get access to the Discord. You ask the questions through the Discord. Holden does his best to answer them when we're not busy trolling him about a couple players that we always like to get him for, and his sharing of his love life. So a lot of fun.
There's 37 watching. Let's get those likes up, right? We only got 13. These are the loyal in here. Let's get this going. So let's get the likes up and have a good time. And let's hopefully we can get some more basketball.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow.